In the past administration, our people felt very much marginalized more than they were ever marginalized. That was the reason the people were agitating for Biafra. But I can say today that we are well integrated into the mainstream of the nation Nigeria. And so we are very grateful to President Bola Tinubu. There will be no need for Biafra again. We are comfortable with President Bola Tinubu. It is not all about appointments. And even if you come to appointments, this Minister of Works, this minister that the president is using to do works in all the political zones, the Southeast is benefiting very well. We cannot be the first, and yet we are not the last. But in the past, we are not just the last. We were forgotten, we were not remembered. But the president has done that. So, my brothers and sisters, we cannot retake our rightful position by sentiments and phenomenal statements. It is by realities and being strategic.
Roads are not justice. Why Dave Umahi's claim that Igbo are no longer marginalized is dangerous. They say the Igbo are no longer marginalized. They say roads have healed old wounds. They say forget Biafra. Nigeria has finally integrated the Southeast. But this afternoon, we must ask the question journalists are paid to ask, not politicians. Who defines marginalization? Who benefits from this new narrative? And since when did asphalt become justice? Because if roads are justice, then power no longer matters. And if power no longer matters, then Nigeria has rewritten political science. When the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, declared that there will be no need for Biafra again, because the Igbo are now fully integrated, he did not merely make a political statement. He attempted to redefine marginalization itself. And that's where the danger lies. On Allies TV, when Rufai Oseni hears a claim like this, his instinct is simple. Let's interrogate the premise. So let's do exactly that. The premise of Dave Umahi's argument is that infrastructure equals inclusion. That once roads are built, justice is achieved. That once concrete is poured, history is resolved. But Ruben Abati would remind us that nations are not integrated by projects alone. They are integrated by power sharing, justice, and institutional balance. Let's be honest. Roads are necessary, but roads are not justice. Roads are government obligation, funded by taxpayers, including the Igbo. They are not gifts. They are not compensation. And they certainly are no proof of equality. If roads alone ended marginalization, then the Southwest, with Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, Lagos-Abeokuta Road, Lagos-Badagry Corridor, Lekki Deep Sea Port Access Roads, federal flyovers, rail projects, and now a multi-million naira coastal highway, would have no political complaints whatsoever. Yet the Southwest still negotiates power aggressively, still dominates economic institutions, still controls key levers of the Nigerian state. Why? Because roads don't give power. Power gives roads. This is where Umahi's argument collapses under scrutiny. Marginalization is not emotional. It is structural. Let's talk structure. The Southeast remains the only geopolitical zone with 5 states instead of 6. That single injustice means fewer senators, fewer representatives, fewer ministers, fewer federal allocations, less influence permanently. Arithmetic is not sentiment. Ogun State alone has historically produced 6 ministers. The entire Southeast is capped at 5. Is that integration or regional inequality? Now let's examine appointments. Because as Ruben Abati often says, power in Nigeria is revealed by who controls what. Look at Tinubu's economic command structure. Finance, budget, revenue, monetary policy, energy, trade. Where is the Southeast? You cannot claim inclusion when a region is absent from decision making, but present in execution. Presence without power is symbolism. Symbolism does not end marginalization. Now let's talk about justice and rule of law, a subject Rufai Oseni never let slide. Across Nigeria, armed agitations in other regions were met with dialogue, amnesty, and political accommodation. But in the southeast, the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, regardless of what anyone thinks of his ideology, has become a symbol of unequal treatment. This is not about endorsing separatism. It is about asking a simple question that every democracy must answer. Are similar grievances treated similarly under Nigerian law? When justice appears selective, trust collapses. And when trust collapses, unity becomes performative. Now let's move from law to economic reality. There is no viable, functional federal seaport in the southeast. There is no effective rare evaluation system connecting the region to ports or industrial hubs. As a result, traders from Anambra, Aba, Onitsha, and Nnewi must move goods through Lagos, where they face harassment, extortion, seizures, and losses. That is not inconvenience. That is state-enabled economic disadvantage. If a trader must suffer simply because of where he is from, that is marginalization. If a region must over-innovate just to survive, that is marginalization. This is why names like Ibeto, Innocent, and Cosmas Mmaduka matter. They did not rise because the Nigerian state empowered them. They rose in spite of the system. And here, we arrive at the most uncomfortable truth, one that Arise TV analysts often stress. Personal access is not collective inclusion. Yes, Dave Umahi is a powerful minister. Yes, he has access. Yes, roads are being built. But history is full of individuals who thrived inside unequal systems, while their communities remained excluded. Elite comfort is not justice. When one man's proximity to power becomes proof that an entire people are integrated, the analysis has failed. Umahi calls alignment with power being strategic. Strategy is important, but strategy without reciprocity is surrender. Real strategy secures structural reform, institutional presence, permanent guarantees. So we must ask, what injustice was corrected? Which federal institution shifted? Which imbalance was removed? Without answers, optimism becomes temporary and dangerous. Now, about forget Biafra. This framing is intellectually dishonest. Not every call for justice is a call for separation. Reducing Igbo grievances to Biafra agitation is a way of avoiding hard conversations about federal imbalance. You do not end agitation by denying marginalization. You end it by removing its causes. National unity is not built on asphalt. It is built on fairness. Justice is not a favor. Equity is not a concession. Inclusion is not tokenism. If Nigeria truly wants unity, then the question is not how many roads are being built, but who controls power, justice, and opportunity. Until the Southeast has equal states, equal representation, equal justice, equal economic infrastructure, claims of full integration remain premature. This conversation is uncomfortable, but patriotism is not silence. Patriotism is truth. The truth is this: roads are necessary, but roads are not justice.